someone happy. Make just one someone happy. Make just one heart your heart can sing. 2, 1. Smile.
Very early in my life, I had this very intense sense that I am going to work with people. I didn't know if it was going to be as a lawyer. I didn't know if it was going to be as a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor. I didn't know. I just knew. I had this very strong sense that I work with people. I also wanted to be a chef, you know, and so and a vet. Actually, I wanted to be a veterinarian. Nurturing, loving, healing, taking care of, connecting with people and animals and our planet was always part of my life. So when you say this field, I'm going to say this field of consciousness. I think like always attracts like. When you're really doing what you love to do, and I love to talk to people, I love to connect, I love to feel that shift that happens when a person gets it. You know, and I love because I feel it as well. It's like it's that aha moment of like, oh wait a minute, I have power in this situation. I don't have to feel afraid. I can actually make a choice and change my life. I can change my future by a simple breath and a choice. I think we always attract what we need, and so how did I get started in this field is there's so many stories. I think that's it. I think like attracts like, and you know, like the teacher always shows up when the student's ready, you know? I'm very empathic. And by empathic, it means I have the ability to feel what a person could be feeling. I feel physical sensations in my body. And so the main gift I use, I have access to empathy, clairvoyance, mediumship. Clairvoyance is like inner kind of sight. You know, the medium stuff is when spirit guides and people who've passed away come into the room. But my main gift that I rely on most of all is being empathic. So we all have the ability to kind of like when someone walks into the room to feel the shift in the dynamic when that person comes in. And so that's what I use, you know. So a client can be with me and like as soon as they sit down, I'll feel something in my heart. And there's subtle changes, right? So it could be the emotional heart, which kind of feels like more of a cloudy heart experience. It could be a physical heart thing where I'll actually feel something physically in my chest. It could be someone else's heart that they're connected to, and I'll be like, wow, you're really thinking about someone who's going through a hard time. So my main tool in my toolbox that I use is my empathy, you know. I had to learn very early on how to disconnect that, because as a kid, I didn't realize I was actually kind of like swallowing emotions and feeling everyone's feelings, and I didn't know how to release it. And so learning to get grounded, learning how not to be codependent, learning how to have personal boundaries when it comes to, you can feel other people's feelings, but you don't have to take them on. That was a major part of it. So I want to say empathy is my best tool. The drawing helps me to see what's going on around the person mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Now, I answered earlier about being an empath and being very empathic. And so what happens is the drawing helps me to kind of like take those feelings that I'm feeling and to actually feel it, put it on, I create a symbol on the piece of paper. So a spiral, say a spiral in the heart is confusion. You know, if there's a break in the heart, there's actually a space. Sometimes there's like little dashes and circles and all kinds of things. And so what happens is I look at that and then feel into it in the through the drawing. Yeah, so I developed the drawing to as a means of one, showing the client what's going on, what I'm seeing. And sometimes a client will gasp just looking at the drawing, because they'll be like, how did you know I had that going on in my hip? Or how did you know that was happening in my sinuses? that's very strange. How did you know? And so the drawing helps me to kind of like get clear. It keeps me grounded, and it's a good way of showing you, the client, how I come around what I feel and see. You know what's funny is that 20 years ago, you would have asked this question because 20 years ago, something was going on that was creating stress. And then 40 years before that, there was something going on. It was the end of the world. It was really hard. And, you know, we need agitation to evolve. And what's really interesting is like, you know, like if you think about how a pearl is made, it's a grain of sand that's irritating this poor little mollusk, and it's like, it's like all this stuff is going on, and this beautiful pearl comes out of this kind of this state of agitation, you know? And so, especially what's been going on in our lives right now, you know, 2016 going into 2017, it's been an incredibly awakening time. You know, there's so much fear, there's so much polarization, there is so much that's being revealed. You know, like if you think about kind of like people becoming aware of animals, of water, you know, like how we're taking care of the planet. Gender is a big, it's hugely, there's a huge consciousness around gender right now. Race and religion, I mean, everything is being, you know, challenged, and we're all being forced to understand someone else's perspective. I, as a holistic being, see that as a good thing. You know, it's like, oh, I didn't realize that your religion believed this. I didn't realize you prefer to be called this pronoun. I didn't realize that, you know, if I don't, you know, love my animal as I love my child, that the animal is affected, or that the animal actually gives me back something as well. And so where we are now is, I believe, a profound state of evolution through agitation, you know? I think what we're going to see is that people's creativities is going to just evolve, and there's going to be so much ability to speak one's truth, you know, and it's going to, you know, art is going to be really interesting again, TV is going to be really interesting again, music is going to be really interesting again, because let's face it, like everything has gotten a little flat, and so things are shaken up, you know, all the sediment is coming to the top, so that we can kind of like see where the gold pieces are, and so we can also come into this place of unity and evolution. I hope that people can do it with love. I pray that people can do it with love. Because that's what this is really about. It's about kind of, you know, coming into a place of unity through connection, love, light, joy. What it's bringing up first is fear. What it's bringing up first is feeling paralyzed and wanting to hide under a rock. And you know what? I say do that for now, if you need to, but then come into a place of acceptance that things are shifting. Who are you in this? You know, are you a lamb? Are you a shepherd? Are you even, maybe you're an angel, maybe you're a turtle. It doesn't matter, you know, it's like, you could be whoever you are, but be that. You know, if you need to follow someone, that's fine. If you need to claim your leadership role, claim your leadership role. If you want to be out in the desert by yourself, that's cool too, but claim it. But don't become paralyzed based on other people telling you you should be afraid. I have that Beatles song in my head when you ask the questions, like, all you need is love, you know? Love is everything. I think, you know, like if you ask me what God is, to define God, I would define God as love. If you ask me to define what connection to our brothers and sisters on the planet, love. If you ask what's the connection with the planet to us, love. You know, we're being loved up in here. It's like it's all love. It's all love. You know, when you see my writings, I always write love in big capital letters, all caps, love. I have a tagline that says "Love your way," you know, because it's kind of like you can love any way you want. You know, you can love who you want, you can love how you want, you can send love, you can give love, you can receive love. And so love is, for me, I breathe in love. You know, I exhale love. You know, love is everything. Love is all you need. Thank you, Paul and John. And kindness, right? So kindness. Kindness, compassion, kindness. It's funny. I have a thing that I do with my clients when I ask them to list the qualities of the person that they want to be in a relationship with. I said, give me the top 5 qualities. And the first one that comes up, I have to say, 95% of the time, is kind. I mean, kindness is an expression of love, right? And so if we say love is energy, love is everything, kindness is that kind of, that bridge to love, you know? And so when we allow for that kindness, we give, we're giving to someone else, we're receiving, we are, you know, sowing incredible seeds into the world of, you know, good intentions. That's what I see kindness as. And I love the word holistic, and I love the word wellness, you know? Because if you look at the word holistic, it's mind, body, spirit, right? If you think about holistic medicine, it's not just, oh, I'm going to write a prescription for this. Let's look at your stress level. Let's look at your behaviors. Let's look at what you're putting into your body. Let's look at how you feel about your parents or your spouse or your kids. Let's look at all of this, because what you're feeling isn't just this current expression. There's something else going on underneath it. And so when one says wellness, you know, we talked about love, we talk about kindness, and these are really great words, because there is that evolution to overall wellness, that holistic wellness. And wellness is, yeah, I am well. I'm doing well. I feel well. And because of that, that radiates off of me. You know, there's this layer of like, I'm well in my head, I'm well in my heart, I'm well in my life, I'm well in my finances. I'm well. How are you? I'm doing well. You know, so I love the word wellness in this, because it creates that holistic element, the completion of love and kindness. I love this time of year. I love change. And so the end of one cycle coming into the other, and we have that on so many different levels. There's you know, changing presidents, there's changing seasons, there's you know, we're coming into a new year. And one of my favorite things to do at New Year's, and it's almost famous with my friends, is that I make these little candles, and I put like some essential oils on little tea lights, and I hand them out to friends. I ask everyone to think about, what do you want to let go of? You know, what do you want to let go of in the last year, right? And then to also think about what you want to bring in. And, you know, because it kind of marks that sense of transition, you know, that sense of things are changing, and I can let something go, and I can allow myself to create space in that letting go to invite something else in. And creating that with intention is huge. And I think what we forget about in a time of change is that a lot of people don't like change. A lot of people are afraid of change, you know, and so for those who can take a breath, for those who can be there for your friends and family who are scared of change. Be there for your friends and family who are isolating themselves during this time of, you know, where a lot of people are being merry, a lot of people are being holly, a lot of people are being jolly, and some people aren't because they feel alone or they're in mourning for some loss. You know, make a phone call, send a text. Even you know, just like a really, I'm thinking about you, can just move someone. And so I think what's going on in this time of change, this time of transition, we have to remember to do it in that holistic way. We talked about the word wellness earlier. You know, it's like part of being well is to give the gift of wellness to someone else. And you know, like if anyone gives a gift, you know, sometimes it's not about that, how, you know, it's just the giving is already exciting and loving, and it just heals the heart, you know. So be the gift. Give to others, you know.
Someone happy. Make just one someone happy. Make just one heart your heart can sing to. One smile that cheers you. One face that lights when it gives you. One your everything to fame. If you win it, comes and goes in a minute. Where's the real stuff in life to cling to? Love is the answer. Someone to love is the answer. Once you